Hey, welcome to the Digital Insurance Agent Podcast. It's good to have you with us today, and I am glad to have Will and Nick from InsuranceMD with me. And we're going to talk today about specializing in your insurance business. And so, Nick and Will, glad to have you guys with me today. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, so tell us a little bit about your insurance journey, how you got started in the industry, why you chose the industry to begin with, and then we'll get into how you got specialized.
Wow. All right. Well, started in the insurance industry straight out of college, and I actually started in P&C, selling auto and homeowners insurance and commercial lines insurance, and didn't really like it. It was very transactional. It felt, people don't like buying insurance to begin with, so it was just a price game, and it wasn't really for me. So I think I went to a job seminar and met with a New York Life representative who convinced me that selling life insurance was a little bit of a different game, and that it was more of a relationship transaction. So I started there, and at some point, 5 or 6 years into that, doing well in life insurance, there was a carrier that we worked with who, told us that we should start looking at disability insurance. And I got interested in it, having seen a lot of clients, who have been disabled but never died. And I saw how more likely it was to become disabled, and really started to feel how that was important, and maybe we can do a little bit, make a difference in that industry. And then as you learn about disability insurance, you quickly learn that the people who purchase disability insurance more than anybody else are white collar professions, specifically doctors. And having had friends who were physicians made it kind of an easy transition, understanding the way they think, and how fast they think really mixed in well with my personality, and it just became a niche that we've been rolling with now for, I don't know, 20 years. So
Excellent. So once you identified that niche, and I, part of the thing that was fascinating is not just a niche; it's really a sub niche.
mm-hmm.
What are some of the unique things you had to begin to think through to begin to develop a brand for yourself, to develop a reputation for yourself within that sub niche?
You had to think about the person that you were selling to and try to find a way to relate to them. Doctors are busy. They are proud people. They are educated. And, I relate well to people like that. I like to try to help them. And it just developed over time, where I just got along with most doctors. I like the quick pace that they want information at, and they like direct information, which is exactly who I am. Maybe lack a little personality in that, but I just direct to the point. Tell me what it is that I'm supposed to have, why I'm supposed to have it, and how do I get there. And I work well with that.
Okay. So interesting question. I have kind of thinking through that. Doctors being busy, everybody wants their time. How did you manage to get your voice heard, to have that conversation? So what did you find was the most effective way to get an audience with those professionals?
Through their hospitals, where they are all the time. We started developing relationships within hospitals and setting up discount programs through various different insurance carriers, to bring some value to what we did, and some cost savings to what we did. And being in the hospital where they worked, and being able to stop them in the hall. This is how we started out before we were all on the phones, but stop them in the hall and say, hey, can we talk about the disability insurance now? And in between patients. And it was just a good, like I said, good fit. It works well for what we're trying to do.
Excellent. So yeah, started off, really belly to belly, and kind of evolved from there. So now, Will's here with you. So what point did it expand from you to having others in the business with you?
Well, it's just, you need help as things start to grow. So you start to build your team, and Will and I have known each other for a really, really long time, since high school days. And Will's got a personality that mixes well with a physician's personality. So, bringing Will in was a no-brainer to pick up the slack and help, um, facilitate the doctor going through the entire process of purchasing disability insurance.
Okay. And you brought up something else kind of interesting, as time has moved on, everything's more phone driven now. So how do you get in front of those doctors today? What has been some of the most effective, things you've been able to use to do that?
Just a lot of technology, taking advantage of tools that allow physicians to book on your schedule, to automate messages to them, the stuff that you don't really, you don't need to be behind the keyboard to do, the little quick reminders of whatnot, but utilizing technology so that you could do more in 1 hour than it used to take an entire day to do when you were belly to belly with them. So there's a lot of good technology out there, a lot of CRM systems that do a lot of automation. And if you kind of tie everything together and you have a knack for that, you can really make yourself efficient on the phone.
Good. What are some of your favorite technology tools that you're using?
Well, we've custom built a lot of our own technology tools through some third-party sources like Salesforce. So we have a really robust CRM system that mixes with our website, some of the insurance carriers' websites, and they talk to one another so that communication is seamless from the agent to the client to the carrier. So some of it's custom, but there's a lot of stuff out there like Salesforce out of the box or whatnot that you could use to make your lives a lot easier in doing this stuff.
Good. So looking back, if you had to go back and do things over again, are there any places that you would do things differently uh, now that you know more than you did back then?
The answer is yes, but I don't think I would have been able to, because when I started out, I don't think we had Siri yet either. So if I can go back with the technology I had, I would just start with that technology from day one. Saved a lot of time and helped a lot more doctors.
Good. So for somebody who's thinking about, going from being more of a generalist, PNC or life accident and health to really niching down or even sub niching down like you've done, what advice would you give to them?
Oh, I haven't thought about that. I would say own it. If you're going to do it, make sure it's a full-time buy-in, that you're not doing it just as an ancillary sale. Disability is a tougher sale than PNC and life insurance because there's a lot more explaining that goes in, and you have to really understand the product and the products that your clients might have. But if you do that, the payoff is a lot bigger than life insurance and PNC, and you build a lot of more lifelong relationships with your clients where they're stuck with you, but they're happy to be stuck with you.
That's good. That's good. And so you brought up an interesting point there. So how do you continue to nurture those relationships once you've developed them?
Got to get on the phone and talk to them. Got to make sure your staff's available to them. They know who everybody is who's going to help them. Sometimes you don't talk to people for a couple years. Sometimes you're talking to them monthly, or, when they need something, just be responsive, have the tools in place where, they can get a hold of you. They feel like they're getting a hold of you in real time, even when you're working with somebody else. So I know that sounds hard, but, give them your cell phone number, make sure they text, make sure your staff has the ability to text. That's huge today, especially with physicians. And, just be available to them when they need you, and they will very much appreciate it.
Good. And as you begin to scale, what do you think are kind of the steps of scale? So as you grow from just yourself, what are maybe the first technology pieces you would bring into play? What are maybe your next steps beyond that you would begin to implement?
Well, I guess we're looking into implementing the world of AI these days, and surrounding yourself with partners that understand AI and how to implement that into your business so that you can do more with the time that we have. So I think that's going to be the next big tool that producers are going to use to differentiate themselves from others out there who are trying to get to the same business.
Good. So, Will, let me turn my attention to you. So, what insights do you have for us?
Well, I guess just to start, I come from a finance background. I did worked at Edward Jones for 10 years in retirement planning. I always knew Nick is an insurance guy. Always was successful, at least for what I know. So coming over and working with him was a pretty easy, straightforward decision for me. Working with him, it's been kind of a whirlwind. I've learned a lot in a short amount of time that I have worked with him. He's definitely one of the best in this industry, very knowledgeable. I would compare him to anybody, especially in this niche. Working with doctors is definitely unique because everybody's trying to get after doctors. So getting their time and getting in front of them is always a challenge, but one that we definitely are ready for and we embrace for sure. I guess as far as the technology goes, in the way our agency works, I don't see anybody doing it better than we're doing it now. We are trying to implement AI, and I think that can only help us get in front of more doctors. So that's where we are now, and look forward to continuing to work with you and also Nick. So appreciate the opportunity.
Good. Yeah, and we'll kind of start to land the plane here, but I think you both hit on something really valuable, and that is who you surround yourself with. Finding people who are good team members, reliable partners. And so, Nick, as you think that through, how have you gone about, over the years evaluating the people that you want to lock arms with, whether that's internally, externally? How do you gauge the right partners for your own business growth?
I don't know if that's something you could teach. It's just a feeling. Sometimes people are, a good fit and sometimes they're not. But anybody who's going to work and be a good team member really has to understand technology and be a really good communicator and super organized. I mean, there's a lot of repetition in doing insurance sales, so it could seem monotonous at times. And that's where the technology comes in to help with that. But it really takes a person who is really good on an administrative level, but also very personable. And that's a hard combination to get. Some people are just really personable, but they can't type, or they don't understand something as simple as Microsoft Word. But it's surrounding yourself with people who are just unique, that have both skills.
Good. And final question for you, and we'll close it down. What would you say is the greatest lesson you've learned in your 20 some odd years here in your business?
As much as I love doctors, we're all people. There's a lot of people who are intimidated by physicians. I don't think they respond well to people to view them like that. But if you treat them like I think you get the best out of the client, and they provide you with the most insight into their situation so you can really help them. But you will come across people who treat doctors with a God complex or the other way around. But, just understanding that they're just normal people and relating with them has been probably the key to our success.
Fantastic. Well, Nick and Will, thanks for joining me today. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast, and look forward to having you on again soon.
Thanks, Carl. Appreciate it.